That's right, we have a working volcanic list leaping forward today, and don't worry, Fire King's going to entertain you as well. Make sure you guys smash the evolution crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. Now, your breakdown here for the 32nd Saiyan Championship is actually kind of interesting, because we have Volcanics taking the lead and actually winning this event, which they had to grind through some of the biggest meta contenders out here, which I say that, and then I look at second place here, and second place is a Dogmatica Invoked Alistair list with a Diabellstar package, and you're just kind of like, what in the world is going on here? I mean, third and fourth place are tier and purely, so, you know, the better contenders are actually sitting in here, but it's amazing to me that Volcanics had a chance to kind of run through this event and showcase some of the frightening power that this deck actually can have. And I mean, in terms of meta breakdowns like this, when you can see the huge differences in decks present, I think that's definitely something interesting to talk about. So let's pass on over to this deck list. First list here is actually our Volcanic deck, and coming in at 46 cards, by the way. That might not seem like a lot to some people, but trust me when I say this, that is a tremendous amount. I also see that we are playing Volcanic Rocket in here as well, and we are playing a mini Diabellstar package in here as well. Level 1 fire, by the way, so you know, value on Rimfire, or if you have to get to a shell, you can. I also see that we're playing a Clashing Souls. During damage calculation, if your attack position monster battles an opponent's attack position monster with a higher attack, control over the battling monster with lower attack and pay 500 life points. The monster gains 500 attack during damage calculation only, and then keep repeating this effect until that player chooses not to pay life points. And that player takes any battle damage from that battle. Also, after damage calculation, if a player's monster be destroyed by that battle, send all cards that player controls to the graveyard instead. Yeah, that's actually interesting. But yeah, this is our list. I like this a lot. It's a lot different than I expected. Next up is this Alistair the Invoker deck in here, playing Diabellstar cards. Now, we don't really have much of a purpose for this crazily, unless, you know, we're just trying to get Lucelia on the field. But I mean, okay, so 11/7 spellcaster monster. Okay, well, maybe not the best case here, but I mean, you're attempting to roll out things down here in the category, you know, set up a Kaliga to detour the opponent. Actually, to be honest with you, Kaliga's an insanely good card right now. All right. As long as there's some interesting things. Also, level 7 spellcaster. That's a machine, fiend, beast, fairy, wing beast, fairy. Sure, there's some little interesting lines you could do with this, but this didn't manage to get second place. I like the idea of what we're attempting to do here. Also, I mean, I guess making Fleur-de-Lis basically pseudo-immune could kind of work out for you. Next up here, we have, yeah, this is the Copium tier that we've been seeing the OCG play. I mean, you only now have the shuffle bags, right? You just have Keldo and Mudora. You have to really, really work for these things now, because, you know, I guess you can go through the danger stuff. I also see that we are doing a Gogi pull in here as well. You know, the amount of Copium that you have to bring to the table to try to get a deck like this off of the ground right now. One big thing I will say is I still have Curious. This does make a difference. I think a lot of people kind of do forget that this does exist, and this can turn into something relatively big. It's just, oh man, it's kind of Winda Turbo at this point. You know, you have to roll out these maybe what feel like subpar cards to kind of start achieving results, but it can work out. It's just, you got to work for it a lot more. And the last out of this event is Purely. The current state that Purely has been kind of forced into out here is actually kind of wild. And once again, still see my favorite card in the whole wide world for this deck, Yield Summon Limit. This card ruins people's days. All right, and it amazes me because the TCG's kind of been catching on to this a little bit. We've seen a few builds that have kind of been going after this, but it hasn't been anything really too crazy out here. But trust me when I say this, all right, if you really, really, really want to ruin a player's day, have a Purely Leap set, get ready to deploy the big cat, flip up that summon limit, offer your opponent the handshake. They're going to look at you in disbelief and go, wow, I wish I could be as good as you are at this game. So I'm actually really impressed by this event's breakdown. I think there are a lot of cool things to really be said about this, but we have to take it on over so you can get the chance to see maybe something a little bit different in terms of your meta representation. We have the 224th Taiyo Championship, and you might not know this, but Taiyo has been, I mean, it's 224 past, or 223 other events that they've had out here. So they're no strangers to the things that we've been seeing out here. And the most represented deck for this event was double Labyrinth. And you do get the chance to kind of see the differences in Labyrinth tech out here between, you know, people wanting to play the new Butler and other people opting to not even touch it. The tech choices for that build, I think, are pretty explorative. I also see that, yes, we do have a Rescue Ace deck as well. It's probably not the most exciting thing because the Rescue Ace decks kind of tend to turn into some really interesting piles. And then we have Fire Kings, who actually ended up winning this event. I've been trying to cover as much Fire King data as I can. That way people can kind of have an idea of what we can expect when this deck actually touches down in the TCG and what sort of evolutions that we're about to see. Let's pass on over those deck lists. And of course, winning our event here is our Fire King deck. And I mean, if you weren't expecting to see the Diabellstar package in this deck, boy oh boy, were you absolutely wrong. This package is the hard carry. I also will say that the fact this deck does get to do some cheese with the Dagda Scythe lock, you really shouldn't be allowed to have access to, you know, these good of cards. And once again, we see our friend Unending Nightmare over here. Hi, Unending Nightmare. How are you? The fact that you have been getting the crazy power that you've been getting with this card, it screws over Centurion. It's pretty easy. Also, this build's only opting for one Garunix Eternity. Some of the most early builds were slamming 2 to 3 of these, but this feels like a slightly more optimized build at the moment. And once again, you have to keep that in mind. Optimization is going to be key. I also love the fact that this card's so nuts. Also, double Fire King Island, only 2 of the Sanctuary. Some people might disagree with that, but in terms of optimization, looks pretty good. Here it is. There's the Broken Butler. This is one of the, I don't see this show up all the time, but more and more people are ramping up playtesting for the new OCG format. So, you know, obviously October 1st just slammed it down here. So players have been looking at this and going, okay, so this is what we can bring to the table. This is how we're going to evolve the deck. And this is going to be, you know, the best optimal choice. And I mean, yeah, turn 0 plays with the big welcomes and stuff like that. Amazing. This build also has cut back on the transaction rollbacks. You know, a few people are going to be like, you shouldn't do that. It comes down to player preference. And of course, yes, we are doing unchained plays in here because, you know, everything is Fiend anyway. So you get that little bit of extra synergy that you didn't really ask for that just makes your deck feel way crazier at the end of it. So we're also siding the shufflers down here. I've definitely enjoyed seeing these two actually be cards that actually matter right now. What else we got back here? This is our, yeah, it's Lion in the Jet Synchron. The craziest thing about this build is the little Synchro toolbox you get down here, something that we can't actually do in the TCG version. It's all because of this card and the fact that you get access to the Auroradon. Everybody's like, you know, Auroradon could actually come back at this point. No, I don't think people want to see Auroradon come back at this point. The card isn't exactly really worth pushing at the moment. So that's kind of something to consider at the end of the day is, you know, what we're trying to play, does it really fit the bill? You know, are we just kind of flipping out here, seeing if we can maybe grasp at straws? But nonetheless, interesting little tech choices out here. It's nice to see, you know, actually 40 cards without having to dump in like all of the books in the world. Hey, look, this is the OCG's equivalent to book. Look at that, you know, the ability just to draw all the extra resources that I want. Then our last list here is another version of Labyrinth, and some of the biggest things here, I mean, there's no Butler. I see that we are playing Bysteals down here. Oh, man. And then you actually do see the Chimera down here as well. This is one of the little funnier things because they are playing Punishment. You might not consider this, but this is one of those cards that you do get the little level of interaction with that can matter at the end of this. So that is everything that we have out of these. There's not a lot else to really say. I mean, with how the OCG has developed these decks, everything feels pretty standard, I feel like. So please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace out. patrons. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.